Self-harm in young people is more common than parents realise. Studies suggest that between 15 and 25% of adolescents will self-harm at some point. For young people with ADHD, autism, or an intellectual disability, those numbers are significantly higher. I'm Brendan, a behaviour support practitioner. Today is going to be a tough topic, but if you're watching this and you're worried about your child, you're not alone. And this isn't a reflection on your parenting. Today I want to walk you through what self-harm actually is, why it happens, what to watch for, and most importantly, what to do about it. When most people think of self-harm, they think of cutting, but self-harm takes many forms. Especially when a child has a disability, it can look quite different. And I want to pause on that for a moment, because this isn't necessarily a suicide warning, but that doesn't mean that we don't take it serious. But it does mean that we understand and respond to it differently. Other forms of self-harm that we would be concerned about would be hitting or banging their head against walls or surfaces, biting themselves, scratching or picking at their skin until it bleeds, burning, pulling out hair, hitting themselves with fists or other objects. Headbanging and self-biting can be quite common for a child early in their development. This usually is something they grow out of. For a young person with a disability, this type of self-harm can be still present later in their development. There's no single reason why people self-harm, but understanding the reason behind it does really matter because it shapes the way that we respond. Sometimes it's to regulate overwhelming emotions. When feelings become too intense, too big, physical pain can create a kind of release. It shifts the focus from emotional pain to something that the body can locate and manage. Some young people, especially those with high anxiety, describe feeling disconnected and empty. Self-harm becomes their way of feeling real again. For kids with a disability, this can be a way of communicating distress when they don't have the words or the capacity to express how they're feeling inside. And yes, sometimes it is to receive attention and care from others. And I say that without judgment. Attention seeking is not a character flaw. It's just their way of meeting a need. The problem is the method, not the need. But here's what makes this even harder. Many young people self-harm in ways that others will never notice. Privately, quietly, on parts of their body that are hidden. That's why knowing exactly what the signs are is really important. There's things that you need to keep an eye on, especially when a young person's already struggling. Look out for if they're wearing long sleeves, pants, or covered clothing, even in warm weather, to conceal marks on their arms, legs, or thighs, unexplained cuts, bruises, or marks, especially repeated ones in the same location, spending increased time alone, particularly in the bathroom or bedroom with the door locked. Be on the lookout for them keeping sharp or dangerous objects in their bag of the room without a real reason. Look for them flinching or pulling away if certain parts of their body are touched, and increased withdrawal, irritability, or emotional dysregulation, particularly around time that they're spending alone. Secure sharp objects, razors, scissors, knives, all locked in a drawer or a cabinet. Lock away medications, even the over-the-counter ones. Remove or restrict access to lighters or anything that can be used for burning. Let their school and their support team know so everyone is working consistently. And keep their bedroom a calm, safe space, not associated with punishment or long isolation. This isn't just about surveillance, although vigilant supervision is important. It's about reducing access while you're putting the right supports in place. I want to be really direct about this next part. Self-harm needs professional support, not just strategies at home. Your first call should be the family doctor. Tell them exactly what you've observed. They can assess what's happening and refer you to the right specialist. Most commonly, a psychologist or a psychiatrist with experience in this area. And if at any point you're genuinely concerned about your child's safety, you feel that the self-harm is escalating or you're unsure whether there's suicide intent behind it, take them to their nearest emergency department. Don't wait, don't second guess yourself. That's exactly what emergency departments are there for. You don't have to have it all figured out to be asking for help. Asking early is always the right call. Alongside professional support, one of the most helpful things you can do is to give them an alternative that meets the same need, and then practice it together when it's calm, so it's available when they're not. Some evidence-based options include submerging their face in cold water, which activates the dive reflex and rapidly calms the nervous system. Holding an ice pack against their skin gives an intense sensation without injury. Intense physical exercise, running, jumping, push-ups, burns through the physical tension. Box breathing, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. The key is experimenting and practicing these things together before the crisis hits. They're not going to work if you're introducing them for the first time when everything's falling apart. So that's it. That was a really heavy one. But if it did help, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and follow the Facebook page. Every week, I'll be posting free content so you don't have to walk this path alone. I'll see you next time.